I get goosebumps, but they're not from a touch. They rise at the back of my neck, move down my arms, making the hairs stand on end like a silent alarm. It's early morning, barely 6, and I'm at the stove with a spatula in hand. The sizzling of bacon in the pan competes with the slow ticking of the kitchen clock. I've done this routine so many times I could walk through it blind. Crack eggs, heat butter, keep the coffee warm. Yet today, every movement feels like an act of betrayal against myself. I stand in my kitchen, mind reeling, muscles tense. The overhead light is too bright for this hour. My fingertips tighten around the spatula, and I have to stop myself from gripping it so hard that my knuckles pop. Across from me, half in shadow, the plates on the granite countertop wait to be filled. 2 plates. One for her. One for him. My wife is upstairs in our bedroom. He's across the hall in the guest room. They came in late last night after some event I pretended not to question. The offer of hospitality was my idea, ironically. I said it so easily. Rick, it's too late to drive back downtown. Why not stay the night? I think I even forced a friendly grin, my teeth grinding beneath it. This is insane, I told myself while rummaging for the spare sheets. But I needed proof. Evidence. A final push. There was already so much swirling suspicion after hearing from my boss's secretary that my wife dropped by the office more often than I'd known. Clues and half-truths, loaded glances, unusual phone calls. A man eventually gets tired of uncertainty. He wants cold facts, even if they sear his gut. So, in my own twisted logic, I invited Rick Hudson, my wife's old friend, to stay the night. And now here I am, cooking breakfast for them both, egg whites spitting in the heat, as if mocking me. I place the bacon onto a paper towel to drain the grease, then lay slices neatly onto each plate. The sound of the coffee machine finishing its cycle momentarily masks my heartbeat that hammers in my ears. I think about how I got to this point, how a stable marriage of 15 years could come to such a humiliating morning. I can't find an answer, so I move on autopilot. Next step, crack another egg. Outside the window above the sink, the sky hovers between navy and gray. It might rain soon. The wind shakes the branches of our old maple tree. I can almost taste the storm in the air, that metallic edge. When the weather changes, my moods do too, as if nature sets the stage for the drama that's about to unfold. My phone on the counter vibrates with a new email. Work. Always work. But none of it matters today. Let the emails pile up. My world is poised on a tightrope between normalcy and chaos. One egg cracks, the yolk slipping out onto the pan. My mind runs through that conversation with the boss's secretary weeks ago. Her voice shaky, her eyes brimming with tears. She had no reason to lie to me. She simply let slip that my wife visits Rick's office more frequently than any project would require. The realization was a punch to the gut. All those nights I stayed late, crunching numbers, trying to meet deadlines as CFO, while they were enjoying each other's company. But I need to slow down, keep the mask in place. Just a bit longer. There's a method to how I'll kill trust in 3 steps. It's grim, but I have no illusions left. Step 1. Confront the possibility. Let the scenario play out in real time. Invite it into your home if you have to. Let them think you're oblivious or naive so you can see with your own eyes. Because trust dies first when it's forced into the spotlight. That's where we are this morning, my house, my kitchen, me cooking breakfast. The ultimate humiliation, maybe, but it's also the perfect vantage point. A door upstairs opens. My spine tenses. Light footsteps cross the hallway, then the soft rush of water in the bathroom. I shift to get 2 mugs ready, forcibly ignoring the acrid bitterness in my throat. I'm preparing coffee for the man who might be sleeping with my wife. The spatula trembles in my hand. The hallway creaks. A figure stands in the kitchen doorway. It's Rick, tall, broad shoulders, a neatly trimmed beard, that usual confident stance. He looks well rested, wearing the same clothes as last night but with his shirt half unbuttoned, revealing the faint lines of his chest. There's no sign of guilt in his eyes, no hesitation in that practiced smile. He could be walking into any 5-star hotel restaurant for a business brunch. "Morning, Mike," He says in a carefully subdued voice as if we are old friends. Something smells great. I force a polite nod, turning the bacon with an exaggerated casualness. Just finishing up. Thought you both could use a decent breakfast. I'm half listening to my own voice, registering the dryness. There's no warmth left in me to offer. Even so, I must keep the facade intact. Step 1. Reality forced into the open. Rick approaches the counter. Smells delicious. Sorry if we woke you getting in so late. You didn't. I lie smoothly. I was awake, listening to every step, every whisper from down the hall, every soft laugh. They were discreet, probably just talking, but my imagination played savage games in the darkness, forming images I couldn't erase. I glance up and see Rick's hand. The nails are manicured, the knuckles strong. I wonder if these are the same hands that touched my wife. He breathes in the aroma of coffee. I hope Jane's still sleeping. She was exhausted. The syllables of her name pass his lips casually, yet they slice into me like a razor. I clamp down on the handle of the spatula, forcing a half-smile. She deserves the rest. Beneath the surface, my thoughts churn. Don't you dare say her name like that. He doesn't notice the tension, or if he does, he's too proud to care. Rick looks around the spacious kitchen. Dark wood cabinets, polished floors, a large island in the center. It's well lit and expensive, and I realize how I've built this entire comfortable life for us. The mortgage, the renovations, the furniture. I've paid for everything, believing I was securing our future, providing for Jane and our 2 sons. And now I feel like a stranger in my own domain, overshadowed by the presence of a man who doesn't belong here. I slide scrambled eggs and bacon onto each plate, add a slice of toast. Rick picks up one plate, carrying it to the table. The rich aroma of coffee tries to comfort me, but it fails. He sets his plate down, then returns for silverware, navigating my kitchen as if it's always been his domain. My chest tightens with a wave of hot anger. Keep the facade, I remind myself. Don't break yet. As if on cue, she appears in the doorway. Jane. My wife for the last 15 years. She's wearing a simple cotton robe, hair slightly disheveled, her cheeks flushed. Our eyes meet, and I see a flicker of something. Guilt, worry, or maybe fear. She tries to hide it with a mild smile. Good morning, she says softly, pulling the robe closed at the waist. I swallow hard, nodding. Morning. I made breakfast. Thought you might like something substantial. Thank you, she replies, stepping closer to the table. She glances at Rick, who stands behind the chair, waiting. It's a fleeting look, but I catch the tension in her expression. Her voice is subdued, almost formal. You didn't have to go to the trouble, Michael. Rick gestures for her to sit, and she does. I move around the kitchen island, positioning myself behind them. Some part of me wants to watch how they interact. The muscles in my chest tighten when Rick picks up her napkin and sets it neatly on her lap. I see the slight tremor in her hand as she reaches for the coffee cup. How did you sleep? I ask, my tone deceptively polite. They exchange a look. Rick answers first. I slept fine, thanks. This place is comfortable and quiet. Hard to believe you're just outside the city. Jane nods, toying with her fork. Yeah, we didn't hear a thing all night. I could interpret that 1,000 ways, but I push away the images. I'm glad, I say. Please eat. I'll sit in a second. I wait, letting them begin. My stomach twists. This is step 1 in the ultimate destruction of trust. Acknowledging it openly, letting it bloom under the same roof. Perhaps letting it poison the air so no illusions remain. I forcibly remind myself I need to see and sense their dynamic together to confirm how far gone we are. They eat slowly, exchanging shallow conversation, asking about the house, the new renovations. Their voices are stilted. On the surface, the scene is polite, but beneath it I feel a swirl of tension. Outside, the wind rattles the window. A drizzle of rain begins, streaking the glass. The day is turning dark, as if mimicking the mood inside. She occasionally meets my gaze. There's remorse in her eyes, or at least I think so. My entire body hums with the question. How did we get here? A single affair, or months of deception? My pride hammers at my mind. I'm humiliating myself cooking for both of them. But I can't skip this step. I decided to face it head-on, gather all the proof. My mother used to say, better a painful truth than a comforting lie. She never told me how that truth can carve out your insides like a dull knife. I finally sit at the table with my own coffee, ignoring the plate I prepared for myself. My appetite is gone. I watch them, taking in the small details. How Jane's shoulders tense whenever Rick leans too close. How he carefully lowers his voice when he addresses her. The faint ring of an unspoken intimacy. I used to see that closeness only with me. Now it's shared. My mind flickers back to that confession from the boss's secretary. She had overheard something about long lunches and private brainstorming sessions. Suddenly, those harmless office visits aren't so harmless at all. Rick sets down his fork. Mike, thanks for letting me crash here. It was, unexpected. Next time, drinks on me. All right? There may not be a next time. I say with a hint of dryness, letting it sound like a half-joke. I glance at my wife, who's pale. She exhales quietly, looking at the remnants of egg on her plate. Silence. The overhead lamp hums. Jane sets her fork aside. I'll go shower, she murmurs, standing abruptly, her robe swaying around her legs. This was lovely, honey. Thank you. Then she slips out of the kitchen, leaving me alone with Rick. He clears his throat. Well, he picks up his plate, carries it to the sink where I stand. For a moment, I'm aware of him very close to me, the faint smell of his aftershave. My heart clenches with anger. He lowers his voice as if confiding, I appreciate your hospitality. It's generous. You're a good guy. His eyes flick to mine, searching for any sign of aggression. I swallow, the bitter laugh rising in my throat. Does he realize how much I want to smash that plate against his face? Or is he so confident in his performance that he thinks I remain clueless? I nod, forcing civility. We do what we can for friends, I manage. My tone is as official and alien as I can make it, as if I'm speaking to a business associate I barely tolerate. Rick sets the plate in the sink. Water runs, steam curls in the air. He tenses slightly, maybe reading something in my expression. I have to check some emails before I head out. Meetings to plan. By all means, I say, turning off the faucet. I'll be here. He nods, an awkward half-smile ghosting across his lips. Then he brushes past me, heading down the hallway toward the guest room. I place both hands on the sink, the smooth surface cold under my palms. My reflection stares back at me in the stainless steel. I barely recognize the man I see. A mixture of fury, sorrow, and grim determination. The goosebumps on my forearms intensify. That's how the day begins. The tension in the house is unbearable, so I leave for a short run in the drizzling rain. The moment I step outside, the cold wind cuts through my jacket, and I welcome it. I jog down the driveway, cross the street, past neat suburban lawns shining with wet grass. Each footstep on the pavement resonates in my chest. The water soaks my running shoes, but I keep going, letting the physical exertion burn away the frustration. I circle back after half an hour, breath ragged, chest heaving. My hair is plastered to my forehead. By then, Rick has already left. Jane stands at the living room window, arms crossed over her chest, watching the road. When she sees me approach, she steps back as if startled. I walk in through the front door, droplets pooling on the hardwood floor. You ran in this weather? She asks. She tries to sound neutral, but her voice trembles. I strip off my jacket and wipe rain from my face. I needed some air. She's in jeans and a sweater now, more put together, but I notice the tension in her posture. I watch her carefully, searching for a flicker of guilt or relief now that Rick is gone. I see something like both. Michael, she starts, but I raise a hand. Not now, I say quietly. I need a shower. She bows her head, stepping aside to let me pass. I head upstairs, each step echoing like a countdown. I realized my voice sounded official, detached, like a stranger. She deserves to see what she's done to me. Or maybe I'm too afraid that if we talk now, I'll snap and say something irreparable. I still have to follow my plan. Step 2. Question the confessor. In other words, direct confrontation. But do it softly at first to get them to speak. Because the second stage of killing trust is hearing them confirm your darkest fears. Once it's spoken aloud, trust can't be revived. I wait until late afternoon, after the drizzle has turned into a torrent of rain that pounds the windows. The sky is a deep slate gray, thunder rolling in the distance. The house is unnervingly silent without our boys around. They're at a weekend camp. Jane sits at the dining room table, phone in her hand, staring at it as if it holds the secrets of the universe. I walk over, pull out a chair, and sit. She looks up, swallowing, her knuckles white around her phone. Let's talk, I say. She sets the phone down, face drawn with worry. Michael, I'm sorry. I should have told you more. But it's complicated. Her words tumble out quietly, as if she's crossing a minefield. I search her face. Is it complicated? Or is it simple? My voice shakes with suppressed anger. You meet with Rick behind my back. You lie. You share things that should be ours alone. A red flush spreads across my cheeks. Why him? She exhales shakily. I didn't plan this. He started by offering help. He's creative, good at marketing. I had ideas for freelance projects, maybe bigger collaborations. At first it was just lunches, brainstorming. Her eyes glisten, and she looks away. Then I realized I enjoyed the attention. He's so confident, and I'd felt like we were drifting apart. You were always busy, always working. And I was lonely. You could have come to me. I cut in, voice tight. I'm your husband. We have a life together, 2 kids, a home, responsibilities. Don't you think I deserved a conversation before you took it to someone else? She nods, tears glimmering. Yes, but I couldn't say it. I tried to drop hints. I felt invisible. When Rick listened to me, I felt seen, wanted. And then, it became more than just talk. A heavy silence. My heart hammers. I feel the rush of heat in my temples. More, as in. I choke on the words, anger and humiliation colliding in my throat. She nods, tears slipping down her cheeks. It was physical, but it's not. Michael, I never meant to betray you like this. I was confused. Confused? I echo, nearly snarling. That's a soft word for screwing another man. Her face crumples. I'm so sorry. It was never about not loving you. My fists clench under the table. That's a twisted definition of love. I try to keep the rage from exploding out. My father was a decent man, but I remember how he'd say, never raise your voice unless you're ready to break something. Right now, my entire being wants to break. When did it start? I ask, my voice dangerously low. She hesitates, tears rolling down. Half a year ago. On and off. Michael, it wasn't constant. It was like an addiction. The thrill, the novelty. But it doesn't compare to what we have, truly. I swear. I laugh bitterly. You swear? You're confessing you've had a half-year affair with Rick. But you swear it's nothing compared to us. Listen to yourself. She covers her face with trembling hands. I'm trying to be honest now. I know I hurt you. I hate myself for it. I push my chair back abruptly, the legs scraping on the hardwood. Lightning flashes outside, casting a stark glare across the room. You should. A savage part of me enjoys seeing her cry, seeing her realize I'm not going to console her. But there's also a wave of sorrow inside me, remembering how I used to comfort her in the past, how I used to be her protector. Now I'm the one who needs protection from her. She lowers her hands. Mascara streaks below her eyes. Where do we go from here? My jaw sets. I don't know, but I'm not leaving. Not yet. My voice is cold. We have kids, finances, a life. This is my home, and I'm not the one who broke our vows. She nods, wiping her face. I understand. It's over with him, I demand, even though a cynical voice in my head laughs at the idea that I can fix this. I want you to end it completely. She nods again, tears still falling. Yes, I will. A brutal hush descends. I stand there, my emotions seesawing between pity and fury. Rain drips off the gutters outside, the thunder distant but constant. My mind flickers to the next step. I've confronted her, forced her to speak the truth. But it doesn't end here. That night I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I picture them together. Her hair tangled around her face, Rick's confident smirk, the way she might have whispered his name. It's a torment that gnaws through my soul. She tries to talk to me, but I pretend to be asleep. I can't even bear to touch her under the sheets. Sometime after midnight, I slip out of bed, tiptoe downstairs, and collapse on the couch. My reflection in the dark TV screen looks hollow, a man drained of hope. Lightning flares outside, followed by a clap of thunder that rattles the walls. The downpour intensifies, matching the storm inside my chest. Eventually, around 3 in the morning, I fall into a restless half-sleep. Day 2. A gray dawn peeks through the curtains. No sweet smell of bacon this morning. No warm glow of domestic routine. Jane stays in the bedroom, likely giving me space or punishing herself in isolation. I dress for work, even though it's Saturday and I technically have the day off. I need an excuse to leave. The house is suffocating. I drive into downtown Chicago, passing the looming skyscrapers, the wet streets shimmering under the early sun that finally broke through the clouds. The city's constant movement distracts me for a moment. I head to my office building out of habit, my fortress of numbers and spreadsheets, a place where logic rules. But even this sanctuary feels tainted now. Because that's where Rick also works, in a different department but the same corporate ecosystem. The same place where the secretary told me Jane often visited him. I recall her tearful confession. Your wife's come by 3 times this month. I thought you'd know. She'd probably recognized the same betrayal in her own life. Her eyes had that haunted sorrow. Inside my office, everything is quiet. It's the weekend. I switch on the lamp, open my laptop and try to focus on reports. The steady hum of the air conditioner lulls me. My mind circles back to the question. How do I proceed after the confession? She says she'll end it. But do I trust her? My entire body tenses with the knowledge that trusting her again seems impossible. I bury myself in spreadsheets for hours, eyes glazing over columns of figures. By noon, my stomach growls, but I ignore it. My phone vibrates. A text from Jane. Asterisk, I'm here if you want to talk. I love you. Asterisk, I don't reply. Another from Rick, surprisingly. Asterisk, need to discuss next week's meeting. Let's keep it professional. Asterisk, I snort. Professional? The nerve. I snap my laptop shut, leaning back in my chair. The late morning light floods the window, painting rectangles of brightness on the floor. My reflection stares at me in the glass. A man on the edge, bloodshot eyes, jaw set in a grim line. I can't keep running forever. I drive home mid-afternoon. The sky cleared, revealing a crisp autumn sun. The wind is cooler now, swirling fallen leaves in small eddies along the street. When I pull into the driveway, I see Jane's car, but no sign of Rick's. Relief. Inside, I find her in the living room, reading the same page of a book over and over, judging by the vacant stare. She looks up, startled. Michael, hi. I nod, shrug off my jacket. The air smells of lemon polish, as if she's been cleaning compulsively. I need to say something. I state, more harshly than intended. She sets the book aside. Okay. I remain standing, arms folded. I want you to text him now. Show me that you're done. I want evidence. I hate how petty this sounds, but my pride demands it. Jane blinks rapidly. Her face contorts with shame, but after a moment, she unlocks her phone and types. She hesitates, then hands it to me, her finger hovering over the send button. The message reads, Asterisk Rick, we need to end personal contact. Michael knows everything. Please don't call me again. Asterisk, she's typed it out exactly as I commanded. I feel a twisted satisfaction, though it's laced with self-disgust. This is the humiliating negotiation of a broken marriage. I press send myself, then shove the phone back into her hand. She nods shakily. I'm sorry, she whispers again. Clench my jaw. We'll see if it's enough. She closes her eyes, tears slipping out once more, but I steel myself against the urge to comfort her. I can't. Step 2 is in progress, but there's more to do. Step 3, expose the aftermath. No matter what either party says, trust is finished once betrayal is confessed. The final step is to lay bare the reality. Let the consequences sink in and move on, whether it's with or without the betrayer. The next day, Sunday, I decide we can't hide this from our sons forever. But they're still at camp until late afternoon. Jane begs me not to mention it to them until we figure out a path forward. I grudgingly agree, though I can't stomach the thought of lying to my children. They'll sense the tension the moment they walk in. By mid-morning, the clouds return, a low rumble of thunder in the distance. Jane tries to busy herself with laundry, but the hamper is practically empty. I can see the restlessness in her every movement. I swirl black coffee in a mug, staring out the window at the leaden sky. When the phone chimes, she flinches. I pick it up. A text from Rick. Asterisk, don't do this. Please talk to me first. Asterisk, my stomach clenches. She glances over my shoulder, reading it as well. Delete it, I say quietly, passing her the phone. Her lower lip quivers. She swipes to delete, but the guilt on her face is plain. She'll carry that weight. A part of me wonders if she's truly done with him or if some craving in her still lingers. I can't read her heart anymore. She's a stranger. I step away, rummaging for my car keys. I need to clear my head, I mutter. Michael, wait, she calls, but I'm already out the door, heading to the car in the drizzling rain. I drive aimlessly, wipers slapping water off the windshield. My mind churns with 100 images. Jane's tearful confession, Rick's smug face, the secretary's concerned eyes, the intangible sense of betrayal that saturates everything. At a red light, I look at my reflection in the rearview mirror and see a man whose entire world is crumbling. A wave of anger surges. I press the accelerator too hard when the light changes, tires squealing. I find myself near the old industrial district, deserted on a Sunday. I pull over by a chain-link fence, the sky overhead turning bruise purple with approaching storms. The place is bleak, battered by wind, but it suits my mood. I kill the engine, resting my forehead on the steering wheel, chest heaving. I think of the times Jane and I used to take drives along Lake Michigan, stopping at scenic overlooks to cuddle. That woman is gone or changed beyond recognition. A swirl of lightning arcs across the sky. Thunder rumbles. I recall a memory from childhood. My father telling me never to stand under a lone tree in a thunderstorm, as it's bound to get struck. Right now, I feel like that lone tree. After an hour of drifting in my head, I start the car and drive home. Late afternoon. The boys return, tired and laughing, their duffel bags slung over their shoulders. The older one, Jacob, sets his stuff in the hallway, giving me a grin. Hey, Dad, you should have seen me on the ropes course. I muster a small smile. Bet you were fearless. He shrugs. Yeah, I guess. His eyes sparkle. Where's Mom? In the kitchen, I say, forcing a casual tone. My younger son, Brian, runs in and hugs my waist. Missed you, Dad. Hey, is it dinner time? Always concerned about his stomach. Jane appears, hugging them both, her face lighting up momentarily at their presence. But the heaviness in her eyes remains. The kids sense something off in the tension between us. After a few minutes of excited chatter about camp, they start asking questions. Mom, you okay? Brian blurts out. She nods too quickly. Yes, sweetie. Just tired. Jacob eyes me suspiciously, a flicker of worry crossing his face. He's a perceptive kid. Did something happen? He asks. I exchange a glance with Jane. She steps in, voice trembling slightly. It's fine. We'll talk later. Okay? Her words land heavily. The boys exchange looks but let it drop. They head upstairs to unpack. Jane and I remain in the living room, the silence thick. I rub my temples. She whispers, "I'll start dinner," but her voice is empty. Dinner is a quiet affair despite the boys' best attempts at telling jokes. I push food around my plate. The storm outside darkens the windows. Flashes of lightning break up the gloom. At one point, Brian tries to talk about soccer practice, but the conversation fizzles. The undercurrent is inescapable. Finally, after dinner, we gather in the living room. Jane sits on the couch, fidgeting with a throw pillow. I stand by the fireplace, arms crossed, gazing at my sons. My heart aches at what I must do, but they deserve honesty in some form. "Jacob, Brian," I begin, trying to keep my voice steady. "Your mother and I are going through a difficult time. I don't want to burden them with details, but I can't lie outright. We might not be the same for a while. Just know we both love you more than anything." Jacob's eyes dart to Jane, then back to me. "Are you guys gonna split up?" His voice trembles. He's only 12, but he's heard stories from classmates with divorced parents. Fear shimmers in his eyes. Jane inhales sharply. "We don't know yet, honey. We're trying to work through some things." Brian's lips quiver. "But everything will be okay, right?" I struggle for words. "We'll make sure you're safe and loved." I manage, not quite answering. The truth is, I don't know if anything will be okay. Tears gather at the corners of Brian's eyes. Jacob sets a protective hand on his brother's shoulder, glancing at me with a mixture of confusion and betrayal. He's so young, but he's old enough to sense the fundamental crack that's forming in our family's foundation. The tension is suffocating, so I stand and move to the stairs. "I need some air," I mutter, heading up to the bedroom. Jane follows me a moment later, but I shut the door before she can come inside. I lock it, pressing my forehead to the wood. Her muffled voice on the other side. "Michael, please. I can't do this now." I slip away into the master bathroom, turning on the sink faucet full blast to drown out everything. Nighttime storms have a way of intensifying pain. Around midnight, I hear the rumble of thunder. The wind howls, rattling the window frames. Rain lashes the house in sheets. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, Jane's soft breathing next to me. She must have slipped in after I dozed off. A swirl of conflicting emotions churns in my gut. Anger, sorrow, pity, maybe even love twisted with hate. My mind keeps replaying images of her with Rick. The humiliation crushes me. I glance at the digital clock glowing on the nightstand. 12:48 a.m. The seconds flick by. I wonder if Rick is awake too, somewhere in his fancy apartment, thinking about her. The thought makes me clench my jaw. The old Michael would have confronted him physically, but I hold back. Maybe that's part of the plan too. The confrontation with Rick. Monday morning, I show up at the office early. My tie feels too tight, and the usual satisfaction I get from routine is gone. My phone buzzes with emails and meeting reminders. Then one particular message stands out. An invitation to a strategy session from Rick's department. Typical corporate nonsense, but now it's personal. At 10 sharp, I walk into the conference room. Rick is already there, adjusting slides on a screen for a marketing pitch. A few other co-workers murmur politely. I nod stiffly, taking a seat at the far end of the table. Rick meets my gaze briefly, uncertain, uneasy. Good, he should be. I keep my expression neutral, official. The slides begin and he talks about brand expansion, synergy, quarter projections. My mind registers only the shallow details. I watch his gestures, the way he manipulates the conversation with a confident tone. The same confidence he used to seduce my wife, I remind myself. My hand curls into a fist under the table. When the meeting ends, the others filter out. He lingers, checking his phone. I stand, gathering my papers. We're alone. The tension is thick enough to slice. He clears his throat. "Michael, can we talk?" His tone is subdued, not the usual charismatic flair. I toss a glance at the empty hallway and close the conference room door. "Say what you need to say," I reply coolly. He exhales. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. Jane. She's wonderful, but I never wanted to hurt you. Or her. I laugh without humor. You're telling the husband of the woman you slept with that you never wanted to hurt me? Are you even listening to yourself? He rubs the back of his neck, looking genuinely uneasy. Look, I know it's messed up. It started as a business collaboration. She was discussing creative ideas. I got inspired. One thing led to another. We got emotionally involved. It was never about disrespecting you. My hand trembles at my side. I fight the urge to punch him, but I force a tight smile instead. You do realize we've been married 15 years, have 2 sons, and you had the audacity to come into our home, accept my hospitality while you... I break off, anger turning my vision red. If you had any respect for me, you wouldn't have touched her. He lowers his gaze. I'm sorry, he says lamely. That one phrase almost sends me over the edge. Sorry, I echo. You know, people toss that word around like a band-aid on a bullet wound. It doesn't fix anything. He nods, not meeting my eyes. I can't change what's done, but I won't contact her again. She said she wants to salvage your marriage. Something about how he phrases it, as if her wanting to salvage the marriage is surprising or optional, stabs at me. Yes, I say, stepping closer, voice low and trembling. And if I find out you went behind my back again, or reached out to her in any way, I'll do more than talk. Rick, you understand. His jaw tightens. Fear flickers in his eyes. Understood. For a moment we stand in silence, the tension reverberating. The cool hum of the AC rustles the papers on the table. I feel the raw power of my anger like static electricity. Then I step away from him, heading to the door. Before leaving, I turn back once more. If you ever show up at my house again, you won't leave as my guest. That's a promise. The threat is quiet, lethal. He nods. I leave without another word. Aftermath. In the days following, I carry the heaviness of betrayal around like an iron anchor. Jane tries to be attentive, to help with the kids, to show me she's repentant. But I move through a fog of distrust. My nights are restless, haunted by images of them. My father used to say that betrayal is like a termite. It hollows out the foundation until everything collapses. I see now how right he was. I work late, burying myself in spreadsheets. At home, I'm polite but distant. Jane tries to talk about therapy, counseling. I shrug, non-committal. Something in me wants to see her suffer the guilt a bit longer. Is that sadistic? Maybe. But I can't unfeel the humiliation. One evening I approach my sons. Jacob is doing homework at the dining table. Brian is drawing something on a pad of paper. I stand behind them, observing silently. Jacob senses me and looks up. Dad? He says. You okay? The question is laced with concern far beyond his years. I kneel beside them. My mind flickers back to the vow I made years ago, to protect these boys from harm. But some harm seeps in through intangible cracks. I'm okay, I lie. Just, grown-up problems. Jacob frowns, but nods. Brian sets down his colored pencil and says, Dad, you and Mom never laugh anymore. I press my lips together. I know, buddy. My eyes sting with tears I refuse to shed. Sometimes grown-ups go through rough times. Brian looks at his drawing. He's made a picture of a boat in a storm, battered by waves. My chest tightens at the uncanny metaphor. I ruffle his hair, telling them to focus on their homework. Then I walk away, feeling an ache in my gut. One rainy afternoon, I pick the boys up from soccer practice. In the car, they chatter about upcoming matches. Jacob mentions a kid in the team who always taunts him. He calls me slow, he complains. I want to get back at him. I grit my teeth at the mention of betrayal or bullying. I glance at my sons in the rearview mirror. That kind of person tries to pull you down, I say slowly. It's like someone who's drowning. If you're not careful, they'll drag you under with them. Sometimes you just have to let them sink on their own. Jacob and Brian grow quiet. My older boy asks softly, Is that what's happening with you and Mom? The directness stings. I swallow hard, forcing a neutral expression. It's different. I say in a low tone. But the principle stands. Don't let anyone drown you. If they're trying to pull you under, get away. We drive the rest of the way in silence. Rain taps a steady beat on the roof. Climax. Weeks pass, each day forging tension. Jane tries to show me how she's changed. She leaves her phone out where I can see it, invites me to all her outings, carefully avoids mention of Rick. But the underlying fracture remains. One chilly Saturday, the boys are at a friend's house. Jane and I are in the living room. The weather outside is raw, wind rattling the windows. She's sorting through old photo albums. Us at the beach, birthdays, the early years of our marriage. I see a younger me, eyes bright with hope. A younger her, smiling in the sunshine. The images sting. She looks at me with damp eyes, a silent plea. I clench my jaw, stepping away. She follows me into the hallway, voice trembling. Michael, I can't live like this, begging for your forgiveness every day but never knowing if you'll give it. I've ended everything with Rick. We hardly speak at work except for what's strictly necessary. I can't undo what happened, but I need to know if we still have a chance. My heart races. I stare at her. I don't know, I mutter. You broke something in me, Jane. In us. I can't just flip a switch and be okay. She blinks back tears. So what do we do? I shake my head, stepping closer, my voice rising with pain that's built up for months. We face reality. We see that maybe we can't go on like before. I'm not sure I can ever look at you the same. Every time I see your face, I wonder if you're wishing he was here instead of me. I wonder if he touched you in ways I never could. Hell, I can't stop it. It's in my head all the time. Tears stream down her cheeks. I made a mistake, she cries, voice ragged. I regret it every second. I love you, Michael. I let out a harsh laugh. Love, that's convenient after 6 months of sneaking around. Lightning flashes outside, and thunder booms. She flinches. The storm intensifies, as if echoing our turmoil. So what? She says hoarsely. You'll never forgive me? I close my eyes. My father's words swirl in my mind. My mother's face. The vow I made on our wedding day. But all I feel is the hollow ache of betrayal. I'm done living a lie, I whisper. I'm done pretending this is fixable with an apology. Her hand shakes as she reaches for my shoulder, but I pull away. The final break is here, and I sense it cutting through the air like the lightning that forks across the sky. She trembles, sobs racking her frame. I'm caught between pity and the scorching memory of her betrayal. The swirling wind outside howls. Our entire house feels ready to collapse in on itself. Misdirection, the edge of vengeance. For a moment, I consider the darkest impulses. Throwing her out, or seeking vengeance on Rick. But I remember the kids, and I remember the man I used to be, honorable, calm, rational. Releasing a bitter sigh, I say quietly, I can't keep you here by force. If you really want to fix this, then show me. But I can't promise you anything right now. She looks up, eyes wet, lips trembling. I'll do whatever it takes. I stand there a long time watching her cry, feeling raw. Then I turn and walk away, leaving her alone. The storm thrashes the trees outside, bending their branches to the ground. Confrontation with the past. Days go by. The tension remains, but we don't talk of divorce openly. Jane tries to be the perfect wife. Meals prepared, house spotless, phone always out in the open, text messages visible. She begs me to go to a counselor, talk to a pastor, anything. I stonewall her. Inside, I'm a cauldron of conflicting urges. One side wants revenge. The other side wonders if I might eventually let it go. One afternoon, the secretary from my boss's office calls me. Hi, Mr. Roberts. Just confirming the detail for tomorrow's finance meeting. Rick is set to present. My pulse spikes at the mention of his name. Another meeting. Another chance to see his face. I grit my teeth and confirm the time. The next day, we gather in a glass-walled conference room overlooking the city. The sky is cold and clear. Rick stands at the head, presenting slides. I sit with my arms folded, studying him with an icy stare. He fumbles a line in his pitch. My presence clearly unnerves him. I catch his eye once and he almost drops his laser pointer. When the meeting ends, I slip out, ignoring the group chatter. I feel him behind me. In the hallway, he calls, "Michael, wait." I stop, turning slowly. "What do you want?" He steps closer, voice low. "I'm leaving the company next month. Found a new position. I think it's best for everyone." I search his face. There's a defeated look in his eyes. "Good," I say simply, with no sympathy. He nods, runs a hand through his hair. "Look, I just wanted to say, I hope you and Jane figure things out. I'm sorry for the pain I caused." I glare at him, the anger rising again. But I keep it under control, only letting out a curt nod. "Get out of my sight, Rick." He lingers a second, maybe wanting closure, but I offer none. Turning on my heel, I walk away, leaving him with his regrets. The echo of my footsteps down the polished corridor feels like a victory, though it's hollow. Final confrontation at home. That night, I find Jane in the kitchen after putting the kids to bed. She stands by the counter, flipping through a magazine but not reading it. I set my briefcase down. She looks up, searching my face for clues. I speak before she can. "He's leaving the company," I say. She lets out a small breath, her hands trembling around the magazine edges. "So, that means no more contact?" I nod. "Seems so." She tries to smile, but it falters. "Then, maybe we can start over?" I lean against the counter, arms crossed. My eyes fix on the pattern in the tiles. "Jane, I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I'll ever trust you again." She exhales a quivering breath. "I understand." The silence stretches. Then she takes a cautious step forward, eyes full of tears. "I'm so sorry for everything. Let me prove I can be better. For you, for our children. If you want me to go, I will. But if there's even a small chance, I'll fight for us." My throat tightens. I recall the laughter we once shared, the nights we stayed up dreaming about our future, the children we raised together. And I recall the savage torment of betrayal, the nights I spent in silent rage. "You broke my heart," I whisper hoarsely. "And you broke my pride as a man. That doesn't just heal." Her tears flow freely, but she stands firm. "I'm ready to do whatever it takes, for however long it takes." I stare into her eyes. Despite everything, part of me loves her still, though it's battered and bruised. The storm that once raged in my chest has calmed to a dull roar, replaced by a weary acceptance. We can't undo the past. All we can do is decide whether to face the future together or apart. Finally, I speak in a broken voice. "We'll see if time can mend what you've done." It's not an admission of forgiveness, but it's not an outright rejection either. Her shoulders sag with relief, though tears still slip down her cheeks. We stand there in the harsh overhead light, the memory of 1,000 shared moments pressing against the new reality of betrayal. I don't reach for her. I can't, not yet. But I don't walk away. Epilogue of vengeance and resolution. Takes months. Counseling sessions, raw conversations, nights where I leave the room to keep from screaming. Jane endures it all, quietly determined. Rick resigns, moves on. My boss's secretary says he transferred to another city. Good riddance. Sometimes, in the quiet hours, I relive that humiliating morning, when I cooked breakfast for them both. The memory claws at me, fueling my anger. Yet slowly, day by day, the scalding rage cools to a distant burn. My mind can't forget, but eventually it learns to file the betrayal under past. I'm not sure if that's real forgiveness or just resignation. Meanwhile, I focus on my sons. I teach them the importance of honesty, show them how easily deception can ruin trust. Don't be a lifeboat for someone who'll pull you under, I say more than once. They nod, absorbing the lesson in that serious way children do. Sometimes I sense Jane listening from the next room, tears in her eyes. She never contradicts me. One night, we sit down to dinner as a family. The tension that's plagued us for so long has lessened. We have a normal conversation. My older son laughs at a joke on TV. My younger one demands extra dessert. Jane glances at me with a timid smile, as if testing the waters. I give a small nod. It's not a declaration of complete absolution, but it's an acknowledgement that life is still moving forward. Later, after the kids are asleep, I step outside to the back porch. The sky is clear, star-flecked. The autumn air is crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves. I hear Jane's footsteps behind me. She stands quietly for a moment, then places a gentle hand on my shoulder. I stiffen, but don't shrug her away. I know I can't erase it, she whispers, but I'm here, fighting for us. I let out a slow breath, eyes on the distant city lights. In that moment, I sense the raw truth. We're forging a new path, one that's scarred by the memory of her affair, but still alive. I might never trust fully again, but maybe I can learn to coexist with my own bitterness. Or maybe one day real forgiveness might bloom. I turn slightly, looking at her tear-streaked face, the faint hope shining in her eyes. The wind lifts her hair. Yeah, I say softly, you're here, and I'm still here too. It's the closest I can come to acceptance. She slips her hand into mine, testing the boundaries, and I let her. We stand there under the stars, two broken people trying to stitch together a marriage once shredded by lies. The sense of vengeance that once drove me has turned into something more resigned, more complex. A determination to live my life on my own terms, not as a victim but as a survivor. If that means letting her prove herself, so be it. The final pang of humiliation from that morning I cooked for both of them still lingers in my gut. Sometimes I think about how easily trust can be snapped. But I also realize that choosing to remain can be its own form of vengeance. Forcing her to see the daily cost of her betrayal, to work endlessly for a redemption that might never be complete. Whether that's cruel or merciful, I'm still not entirely sure. We head back inside. The house is quiet, the children asleep. A faint moonlight filters through the windows. As we pass the kitchen, I glance at the stovetop where the memory of sizzling bacon and eggs is etched into my mind. My wife's grip on my hand tightens, as if sensing the same recollection. I squeeze back, a silent acknowledgement that the past cannot be undone. But for now, we walk forward together into the uncertain future, battered but still standing. And in that uncertain future, I carry the knowledge that not every pain is visible, and not every betrayal needs a violent revenge. Sometimes the slow burn of regret, the daily tension, the relentless reminder of guilt is punishment enough. I become the standard, the man who withstood the storm. She becomes the warning, a testament to the cost of dishonesty. And as for him, he's gone, hopefully haunted by the memory of what he almost destroyed. Perhaps that is vengeance enough. I shut off the kitchen lights, lingering for a moment in the darkness, feeling the weight of everything we've been through. Then I follow her upstairs, my footsteps measured, heart guarded. Outside, the wind dies down, leaving a calm hush in its wake. A hush that holds the seeds of tomorrow, whatever that might bring.